Oh, welcome everyone to the 259th weekly MLP Drawing School. It's February 16th, a little past 6. Who cares? Time is relative anyway.
Time is a crazy concept.
Time is an illusion.
Hey, did you know it was March last month and it's going to be March next month?
What?
Because that's the world I'm sitting in.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Can we go past March this time? Because last year I didn't get a birthday. I really wanted a birthday this year.
Well, as you can hear, there's an entire horde of people here, so I'm actually going to announce them all at once. We have Ali CPC, Cute Way, Pixie Up, and myself.
Sugar!
Birthday Zom! It's Zom's birthday! We have to make all the acknowledgements.
Party hat.
Yay! This is the one thing that our crazy notion of time can assure us. Also, I was so excited that my silly name gag threw you off that I accidentally unplugged my headphones.
Dang it! All right, we have a horde of art to get over this week, but don't be afraid to submit some art to us, submit some questions, maybe send us money. Just money. Just, mail us an envelope filled with money.
You're going to have to mail a lot of envelopes.
Yeah.
We all live in different continents.
Wait, does any of us even share? Like, we share the same...
Me and I share a country.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For a few more months, and then I'm moving again.
But you're separated on a border still.
Borders? No.
No.
Up in England.
Oh, I thought you're still... Okay, never mind.
No, I wasn't. I'm not in Scotland.
No, okay.
I was in Oslo for a bit, and then I moved back here, and I'm gonna move away again as soon as uni ends.
I mean, listen, I'm still shocked that Zom and I are the only ones in our hemisphere, and yet everyone else is like... The time zone, right? It should be populated with our hemisphere.
We are all in the same hemisphere.
Okay, yeah, hemisphere. Well, the Americas.
The slice.
The time zone.
On the vertical slice.
And yet, somehow you folks still come. Like,
yeah.
Pixie is just waking up. Like, they are still...
Slice up the world like a chocolate orange, and then that's how we're going to divide things.
I could not sleep right now, even if I wanted to.
I got chloroform. Hey, does this smell like chloroform too?
Oh.
I wonder if that even smells like.
Fell off my chair.
I'm not going to try it.
On today's episode, we all try chloroform.
It's a quiet episode.
The end of the stream for like 6 hours.
I feel like my body will manage to turn it into caffeine, because it seems to be what it does with everything I eat, or breathe, or drink.
Oxygen. To be fair, that does bring energy.
Oh, I'm almost on the other side of the room because of the way I'm bouncing my chair. I need to come back to my desk.
Oh my gosh, she's got so much sugar in her body. Somehow
Pancake day is dangerous.
Allie.
Alright, I'm ready. I'm focused. Not really, but I'll try. I'm sorry to the first person that's gonna listen to this whole thing before we actually start critiquing.
We're like 5 minutes late to start, just rambling, and now another 5 minutes.
I'll try to eat this amount of pancakes for Friday stream.
Okay.
Yes,
so this first picture, it is by what? Santa Eye Cat. No.
Try again.
Satanic Cat? No, because that's not... Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with Satanic Cat. It's the top left-hand corner one. It is eye advice. See, this is what we love to see in post. Just asking a question. It's great.
Oh.
Eye advice, the new help app by Apple.
Exactly. And yes, they are looking for advice on the eyeballs. I'd like advice on the eye colors. If you scroll, there are options. Wait, I can scroll?
Oh.
Do tell me what to do.
Yeah, these new social media networks let you scroll up and down.
No, it's got other
Quite
pictures attached
revolutionary.
to it. So gray, purple, like bright sort of pinky stuff, blue. It looks like the color is sort of a lavender as far as the horse color. Unfortunately, that's not really picked up in the photo you took. The white balance is a bit.
I actually really like the
Not there.
grey. Or like if you had a less saturated and slightly lighter version of the purple, that would look nice as well, I think.
I think a green or yellow would probably work better in my opinion, but only because it works against that tertiary sort of colors, because you have this
Mm-hmm.
sort of white or gray, very light grayish mane, and you're trying to pull away from the purple, so you try and desaturate against those, and going somewhere into the yellows will help get there.
I think
I
what I
think-
like
I
about
think
the
that
grey is
this-
it like makes the other colors look a tad more like saturated by comparison, whereas like having a super saturated eye color like makes everything look really grayscale.
I think it's a little bit difficult to see, but I think that the body is something like this color, like a bit of a pinky.
I can help you out here. They actually have other pictures posted with the full colorings.
Oh, brilliant!
Sorry about that. I only try
Oh,
and
good.
stick on one image. Let me grab this one for
no
us.
stress.
It's over here. Refresh.
You can probably just chuck it in the voice chat or whatever.
Oh yeah, I guess that worked too. Boom! I think that'll open. Oh yeah, there it goes. Look, it's a horse.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
see.
what I was
I see.
looking at
Yeah,
on-
yeah. Sick. That's good. Yeah, something along those lines. With that yellow, I really like that. The main color. This sort of.
Yeah, it's okay to have a
Blondie.
desaturated mane or even a plain mane. Like, not everything
it.
needs to be a rainbow unicorn of lightning doom.
And I appreciate that it's a light color, especially in comparison to like everything else. Like it feels like a very light mane, but it's not like straight white, which means that you can shade it and highlight it and everything, and it's good. You can play with it a bit more.
With the in terms of like colors, I think how I tend to sort of pick eye colors and that sort of thing is I tend to just go contrasty. So have the eyes sort of stand out a little bit. In this case, you know, your body is kind of this color. Your mane is kind of these colors, sorts of things. So yeah, just experimenting a bit, seeing what kinds of colors go well with that. Contrast nicely with that. Big old saturated things with going into. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Personally, though, I believe this is more of a your decision, because when it comes down to MLP, there is no standard for doing it. There's some that the main 6 like to follow, which is tertiary coloring, but then you go off into the to like the side characters, and all of a sudden all that's out the window, and they just do whatever they want because colors are colors. Colors are fun. Colors are playful.
Yeah, what we're saying is just like sort of our general opinions. It's not like this is the way that it should be.
But this green color is correct, though.
Yeah.
Nah, but
I tried the tertiary color thing. It like never worked for me as a color design thing. I always just eyeball it. It's like this looks
It's
nice.
too much information for my brain. I just go
Yeah.
one color and then one complementary color. I can handle more colors at once.
Does this look nice? Y/N, and I just go through the hue spectrum and saturation and stuff, and just experiment till something looks nice, and then that's it.
I will say the LD linked us one of your other pictures with these sort of desaturated dark brown eyes, and I think that those contrast with your other colors really, really nicely because they're still in that sort of desaturated area, but they contrast in terms of hue a little bit, and they also contrast in terms of brightness, and I like that a lot. So you can go, fairly crazy in terms of saturation and go for like way more saturated, or do that. I think both of them are pretty dang good. The good thing about something like this is that you can make a decision now, and then when you're later on in your artistic journey, you'll be able to continuously refine it and do all that sort of stuff. So if you choose a more green color now, when you're later on, you might be able to choose a better green, or you might just decide, hey, it turns out I actually hate green, so let me choose something completely different.
I have
So
subtly
you don't
adjusted
need
the
to be
hues
perfect.
of my characters for ages. Like, just this coat should be a slightly darker color, or this mane here should be a little bit lighter. Or this eye needs to be like slightly more in this sort of color spectrum. Saturate this a little bit more, and you adjust it over time. There's no reason to be like, well, this is how it is because it's how I drew it in the previous picture, so now it has to be like that for all time. Like, that puts a lot of pressure on yourself to make things perfect the first time, and you kind of just got to get yourself into a understanding that it's going to change. So just throw stuff out there, and if it looks nice, if you come back to the picture like a week after drawing something and you put it up online, you like come back to it later and you look at it and you feel comfortable with the colors, then great. If not, like maybe the next time you like just try experimenting with things a little bit, and over time you'll just have these comparisons to look between, and maybe you'll find something you like 10 pictures ago that you're like, oh, actually I kind of like the main a little bit more of that color, and you'll begin to know what feels comfortable to you, and then it'll make it easier to design characters in the future because you'll know your sort of standards, if that makes sense.
Preferences.
Yeah.
I'm just checking on some like random messy colors on top.
Now, it does look like you've done this traditional, so it's not nearly as easy, but I mean, drag it into a digital program, even like Paint.net or GIMP, and just play to your heart's content. You get to just fill areas and see what happens.
GIMP is good because you have good, like path tools and layer tools and stuff that you can use.
I think there are tools for that are specifically designed to help you pick color palettes and that sort of stuff. Like I'm not sure if you like what you have in terms of digital art tools or tablets or whatever like that. But like even if you don't have any of that sort of stuff, you can still like use those tools really easily to just come up with, hey, look at a color wheel, and then pick stuff off of it, and then use some help it. Like a lot of those tools, what they'll do is they'll give you some like basic theory stuff, like tertiary sort of color things, or these sorts of things to like help you choose colors that might go harmoniously together and all that sort of stuff. So you can always mess with those a bit and experiment, but see what works.
Do you guys have the thing where like it's sort of a little bit easier to eyeball like skin colors and things now, but you go back to like older pictures and all your characters have look like weird emancipated vampires, and it's like, what is this? What are they doing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Never ever. Nope, all my art was perfect. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
LD frantically deletes old art.
I don't. It's all on paper.
Right.
Go find it.
Yeah.
Paper shredder!
I'll come to your house. We'll make pancakes.
It's fun and
Deal.
destroys all evidence.
I keep every single sketchbook that I've ever used ever, and it's
Same.
sometimes horrifying. But it's fun.
See,
I have sketchbooks
I've never
when I
been
was 10,
horrified.
Yeah, it's mostly like I go back not enough time, and I see too much change, and I'm just like, how did I not notice that like 6 months ago all of my this thing was terrible.
All right, shall we move on to our next horse?
Yep.
Cool.
Horses.
Throw us more of your stuff. I'd be excited to see your color choices as they develop and such.
This picture is by Bob the Bogon, and it's I drew a powered up form of my OC, mostly to test design elements, not to try it out, or not to try out some shading. Yeah, so design elements, not shading, I guess.
Is the last bit of their name spelled Bogan?
It is.
Bob the Bogan. Hey, what up? He's probably Aussie. Probably one of my
It
brethren.
sounds
You both can
They're
go
taking
fight
over.
spiders together.
It's a very good horse, mate.
So design
Right.
elements. Design elements
Design
are fun. Pulling them from other resources is a great plan. I am interested, though, in your pulling from other resources. What is this? It's got, like, I don't think
It's
it's
a
a
tablet
horn.
pen stuck to their hair. That's what
Oh.
I see.
I think it's horn with a ring on it.
You think?
Oh.
'Cause
Some magical, either power limiting or power extending ring thing.
They have another picture where their character has no horn. So it's...
Oh, interesting.
I'm getting insider information by clicking through their posts here.
I think that's illegal. I don't think you're
It's
allowed
too
to.
top secret. We can't do that here.
Breaking the law.
God, they make so many shit posts. This is amazing.
I see. It's retractable.
It's a retractable horn, like an aerial on some old cars.
Huh.
You just need someone to sort of get their finger and press down on it. And it just like tracks.
So, Bob, you better tell us what's the idea behind the horn. Also, when you see, power up mode, what do you see? Do you see like Twilight powering up and having all the flashy lights and surrounded by energy and stuff? Do you see like anime with all sorts of like symbols floating around them and glowing eyes and lightning bolts? Do you see classic cartoons like DBZ where it's just this like earth-shattering energy and they're trying to poop really hard? Like,
I thought you were about to say earth-shattering kaboom, and I was going to approve, but you didn't, and so I'm sad.
Pixie's disappointed. Pixie,
I'm sorry, Pixie. I can never live up to your level.
Yep. With design elements and design in general, it's hard to get because a lot of improving your design sense is about watching people give like classes and lectures on it can sort of help, but like also just looking at the sorts of things that other people draw and then tracing over the top of them, or like drawing simplified representations over the top of them and that sort of stuff is something that I've found can help me a fair bit. So, for example, let me erase this for now. I'll get like a picture like this, and then I'll just like try to trace the shapes that I see, the simplified shapes over it. And then doing that kind of thing a lot on other people's art will sort of let me see the sorts of shapes that they tend to use when they're building up their pieces of art, and then I can steal those shapes and then use those on my piece of art as well.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up with like all this sort of stuff from scratch is not something that you're expected to do when it comes to art stuff, so don't stress out too much if you're having a bit of trouble getting it looking how you want it to look in your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally did that growing up as well. Just so trace stuff, just sort of figure out like, okay, how does it like feel to sort of place things like this and that.
I didn't do it when I was growing up, so I needed to do it a whole lot more.
I did it like when people weren't looking.
Yeah.
It's always that like mindset of like, it's wrong, I'm doing a wrong thing. But like I wasn't trying to post it online and claim it as my own. It's just like learning, you know.
Oh my god, that's not good. When it comes to these sorts of things, a lot of the time it's like really subtle, and it's the kind of subtle refinement and subtle improvements in shape that you don't that only really tend to come with like practice looking at your own stuff and deciding, okay, which kinds of curves do I want to go towards, which kinds of elements do I want to lean into a bit. So like something that I've seen touted a lot is this kind of shape where it is pinched on one side and stretched on the other. And this is a kind of a shape that you'll see a lot when it comes to uh, humans, when it comes to animals, all that sort of stuff. Just the basic idea that in a lot of things you'll see like a pinch and you'll see an extension on the opposite side. And so, for example, on here in your body, this is a bit more of an extension. This is a bit more of a pinch in terms of the visual of it. And so that kind of just helps give this torso of yours a little bit of a little bit more energy and makes it a bit more dynamic and all that sort of fun stuff. I also like having a bit of a defined kind of a ribcage thing. That's sort of why I added this little bit of a bump here, or a little bit sort of more of a bump, and had it like come in and then boom, because I also like a little bit of a significant sort of belly area thing. Also with proportions, don't stress out too much if it's a bit difficult to sort of get it looking the way you want to get it looking. Proportions are something that do take a fair bit of time and concerted effort and all that sort of stuff. And the thing that I can suggest for doing that is life drawing, because that's the kind of thing that did help me a fair bit. Let me pull up the challenges. I'll let you know which one. Yeah, if you look at challenge number 43 on our subreddit, it goes through doing some life drawing with some animals and that sort of stuff, and doing like a session of that once a week or something like that will probably help improve your proportions, because that's a lot of what life drawing and like looking at reference pictures and then trying to replicate them is all about. But in general, this is good.
On my corner over here, I tried to push the pose a bit to make him feel a bit more powerful, I guess. So I pushed the action line a bit more. So it goes all the way from his head to the tip of his foot. I pushed the arms up a bit, so he's kind of like flexing. That was my idea, at least. And then with the energy bits, I tried to make them kind of flow as if they're coming out of him, to make more, as if they to make them more connected to him, as he's producing it from all his energy. So with the eyes, I kind of follow the top of the eye and then jaggedy lines, and then same with the legs. Follow the leg and then keep going. And then, oh yeah, and I put since I had moved the arms up, I moved the wings down so they aren't in the same place as the arms, creating confusion. They still attached over here, they just down. So you have a good distinction between the wings and the arms.
I'll take this silence as my opportunity to finally hop in.
Hello.
Hi.
I worked a little bit on the hoofs because I felt like they were a little bit awkward from how far back they were. And I sketched out the anatomy lines for the wings because I always do that.
I think that what CPC mentioned about action lines is really good. It's a pretty subtle thing. It's something that you sort of pick up on and just like keep an eye out for, and sort of end up saying, oh, a lot of artists are sort of using this to good effect. But the basic idea is sort of you'll draw like one or a number of lines through your art, and then you'll just have it so that like most of the elements in your art sort of follow along those lines. And you'll see it like even with CPC stuff here, the sort of hair goes off in that direction as well. And this hoof does, and everything sort of leans into this being a very powerful sort of position. And having some of those basically just makes the pose feel more alive and more dynamic, because that's sort of the way that a lot of people, that people in general tend to move. We tend to have this sort of flow to us, even if we don't realize it. Same thing with like if you look at birds and animals, you'll often see them making these like same sorts of like shapes that like most of their body traces along and follows and all that sort of stuff. So, good thing to keep in mind and look out for. Yeah, I think this is a really good picture. I like it. And I am excited to see some more stuff from you in the future, if you want to share it with us and all that.
Hell yeah.
It's also always a good idea to sort of have differences between things. So, for example, one hoof, going down like this, you can make the other one sort of go out a bit, or just do something different in general, because it just creates some sort of visual interest. It's a little bit more interesting to sort of look at as a viewer. If you have one hoof going down like that, you can sort of have the other one do something different if you want, or I don't know. It's just something to keep in mind. I think this one's probably about good.
Yeah. Zom's just not at the computer at the moment, but
Yeah, so we have to kill time, and definitely not by playing Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Switch. That's not what I'm doing right now.
I absolutely did not get up and start messing around with my art supply boxes. Ow! Oh, my gimbal's on
Did
the
you
floor.
just stab yourself again?
Nope, I stepped on my gimbal. Let's put it away.
I know.
clearly we all just need to be drawing Zom art.
Yeah, that's the way to.
The sacrifice of Zom.
It's got to be over the art though, because then the stream might be able to see it.
That's fine. It's a surprise.
be a surprise
to
later.
them.
Hidden corner doodles.
That's silly.
Where's my knitting pattern? Oh, I closed it.
Oops.
Which one do I want to do?
Yeah, it turns out Zom's actually getting arrested for tax fraud and wanted one of us to take
What?
over.
How
They
did this
get you.
happen?
They get you on your birthday. That's how they do it.
Yeah, when you're least suspecting it.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually being arrested by the art police.
It's all the years of us not getting paid that penny of AdSense. You know.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yay.
Sorry.
I'm glad the cops didn't get you.
Zom, how are the tax agents? Did they arrest you?
No, it was much better than that. A friend dropped off a bottle of scotch, which is
Don't be a good night.
Yep. So
I
sorry.
have some
Are we?
liquor downstairs. I want it now.
Yeah, you can have
Yeah,
some.
we are done with this image.
Cool.
Please take it away.
I apologize.
Oh no, don't apologize.
Did you just like wave your hand in a sort of posh?
I literally did. I waved it in a
I
push way.
could hear it. I could hear it.
Tax was definitely paid on the scotch, and I will drink the tax too. I'm apparently having a scotch only
Nope,
night.
it's all
I'm
good.
currently drinking scotch, and now I have more scotch to drink. So scotchy, scotchy, scotch. Speaking of
Take a
scotch,
shot, but scotch is too nice to
you
take shots
monster.
of. I just said scotch is too nice. Let me finish.
And I finished the shot of scotch.
Yeah.
The whole glass just downed.
All right.
No ponies.
Horse. Speaking of horse, we got this colorful painted horse. This is by Cake Shake 22. Haven't posted here / drawn ponies in a long time, but slowly starting to get back into it. Trying out a new style. Would love some critique so I can improve. Drawing is one of my OCs. Freaking love your OC.
Adorable.
I wouldn't ever want to make it as a plushie, but oh my god, it's so cute. Painted horses.
It is very, very lovely.
And they didn't leave any questions, right? Because this is really cute, and I don't know what to say otherwise.
We're drawing hearts all over your like amazingly drawn like background pattern as well. Like everything about this is lovely.
I need to say this shape here, a la Sunburst, is one of my favorite things ever. I love it. A la Sunburst and Kieran.
Oh, see, like I've also tried doing like the heart-shaped nostril thing before. You pulled it off way better than I ever did. It looks really cute. Just like everything about like the roundness of the style and just like the placement of everything is so good. Like the ear just looks super nice. The way the jawline sort of frames the head shape is all so good. It's so good. I want to learn from you. You're the teacher now.
Actually, that does raise a valid point. If you are not really getting many comments on it, it might be time to look a bit introspectively on your art. And one of the great ways of doing some introspective art is doing it externally. You critique other people's art. Constructive critique we have used for, well, how many years are we in this? 10 years? 9 years? Anyway, we find constructive critique to be a great method of self-education. You want to look at a piece of art and go, what is wrong about this and how can I improve it? But also vocalize how it can improve. Because you can look at your own picture and be like, yeah, I see something wrong and I can fix it over here. But how do you tell someone else to do that? Mm-hmm. That is the difference between intuitive and knowledge. So you can intuit something and be like, yeah, this has got to change. But trying to vocalize that really cements the ideas in your head, really allows you to play with it and question, why do I believe this? And that's why we love critique. So my suggestion, Cake Shake, start critiquing.
Yeah, like I think honest.
Sorry.
I think critiquing has sort of been one of the things that's like really helped me with pushing my art and helping me sort of just try to make it better and all that sort of stuff.
I was going to say, because we talk about the whole the leapfrogging pattern of like art skill versus the analytical eye. So like your ability to see art like will grow naturally as you develop, as you draw, you sort of stop improving, and then your ability to understand and visually break down drawings improves, and then you start seeing like flaws in your art, and you start improving, then your skill improves, and it keeps like going in that pattern. But well, your eye improves over time as you draw. It's easy to like practice your drawing skill. If the stuff you're drawing is not like fully in the place you want it to be, then it's easy to start doing like style studies or like artist studies, or just generally practice. Start breaking down your stuff to figure out what you want to improve about it. That's pretty easy to sort of go about doing. But it's like if you want to specifically work on your ability to understand stuff, then that's like critiquing, right? Because that helps you to understand how to break down stuff. Anyway, we're saying this because we really don't have much other than very tiny nitpicks, apparently, about the image.
Speaking of nitpicks, here's my nitpick.
I always like having a bit of a shoulder turn thing, like looking over shoulder sort of stuff. When you've got this kind of a thing.
Now, do you make it? You make it. You just blast out that hole and make sure the shoulder doesn't exist. Okay.
Yeah.
Or I think it's also just like to stop it from being like too straight of a line, right? You keep like the flow in there. Because you could also, if you don't want to do it like the shoulder shape, you can do it. Do I have a nice color? You can sort of just do it like this. Oh no, you can't see because my stuff is below everybody else's. There you
go. The Bamass, are you Cake Shake, or are you not?
Well, there's the third chat, right?
So many chats.
Because if you are Cake Shake, that'd be cool to talk.
This
if
is how
not,
I would do it.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah. Definitely share your art. Like, if you believe, if other people are telling you it's shit, don't listen to those people. Those people are not good people. They are not being helpful. If they are giving positive, constructive critique, and you're just interpreting as shit, maybe you aren't in the place to ask for critique. There's two different ways on that one.
Yeah.
Both are okay to be.
Yeah.
We've definitely seen people come into the group and like they sort of like ask for critique, but then like they just can't take it. They disagree with everything. They fight everything and get like really defensive and get like really upset and like hateful of their own art. And it's like, this is not a healthy mindset to be in, and it's completely okay if you're just not the kind of person that can take critique well. But
I can't at all.
Just sometimes it's the person and they're just like, this is stupid, and it's like, well, then I'm not going to listen to you because this is not helpful to me.
When I get critique, I tend towards just not doing that skill anymore. Really, it takes a lot of doing for me to like hear some critique and then actually take it in a positive way, because that's
hard,
that's kind of
psychologically.
That's kind of why a lot of my stuff is like overly nice, and like 300 times I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, because I know that if I didn't have that, I would like crumple into a pile and be like, no, art's bad forever.
You're also just a really nice guy, so
yeah.
When it comes to critique, for me, I can get very like, oh, this is like why I did this, and it's not so much just like, no, it's wrong, like the way I did it's perfect, because like I'm asking for like feedback, but like sometimes I guess like also like sometimes you're not like sure what it is that you want feedback on, because that's another thing with like the eye. If you don't know what's wrong with the picture, you can't like know what to ask for. But then like someone critiques it and say, oh, I think this is off, but it's like the one thing that you actually liked, and it's like, but and it's totally okay to say like, actually, I'm fine with how this is. Maybe it's something else, like I like how this is. I don't want to change that right now. And that's important to remember as well. But it's totally easy for me to get into the mindset of like, no, like I this is why I've done things this way, or this is like my mindset going into it, and I think like part of that is a defensiveness. Like, I'm not sure I could do it any differently, but of course I can. It's just a case of like, is this something I want to the change? Is this advice that I actually want to, because it's all subjective. Is it advice that I want to actually do in my art? Like, if not, then okay, it's just something to think about, and then that's helpful in itself. It's always helpful to hear different opinions, and if so, then yes, it's advice that I can take and is helpful to me.
Yeah, you always need to like filter incoming advice and critique and all that through the lens of how you want your art to go forward and all that sort of stuff, and your intuition on that, like your ability to see which critique is like good and which critique isn't as useful to you, improves as your skill improves and that sort of stuff, and as you get like a better idea of what you want your style and your everything to look like. Art philosophy, yeah.
Yeah. So, picture here, Cake Shake. I do have two changes that I would suggest based on just the quality of the art. These are minor nitpicks, but it would add a bit more depth to the picture. So the first is aligning the horn with the rest of the head. Right now, the position you've placed the base at is actually offset from that painted mark, and the painted mark makes it very plainly obvious. If it wasn't for the fact that they're painted horse, I wouldn't have noticed it at all. But because you have this visual alignment with that mark, it is very easy to see that it's just slightly off. Easiest way to get around this personally is making sure to bisect the head with a cross, so I know that I'm following sort of construction lines. I'm sure you're doing that, and it's just easy to sort of keep working over something like it's Play-Doh. Happens. Second part, your hair has a starting root. Much like if you grab the top of your head and go play with your hair, it roots into somewhere. There is a shape behind there. With the amount of hair that your OC has, it's going to actually have a wide section of that root. So what I've done is I've just given it a root. If you go look at Rarity, it will actually show up in the movie, but not often in the show, where she will actually have sort of a ridged area where her hair spawns from in that mohawk. For whatever reason, she's one of the two mohawk horses. Because she's metal. But anyway, give them a bit of volume on that root. Give it a starting position. It'll also help build up that shape.
I also have one other nitpick, and it's like super nitpick, but I really love the coloring of your hair, but the bun itself and the way you have it colored, I would just be wary, like if you want to get that really nice effect, be wary of the direction of your line art and the direction of your colors and the way your shading and stuff is. Because right now we have this red completely bisecting, your hair curl here in a way that's like, okay, well, I'm looking at the colors tell me a bun goes like this, but the bun's telling me it goes like this. It's super nitpicky, but it's like
Yeah.
a little detail that
I
can
was
help
just looking at it
bring
as well.
that
It almost feels
fullness.
like it's coming out towards the side, like directly on, but I'm trying to sort of make it have this like 3D cone.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure it out as you started talking about it as well.
I noticed. I'm like, oh, I guess we're doing the same thing. But yeah. There is one thing I wanted to add. Going back to the whole critique thing and like kind of looking more critically now, like, because like I said, most of this is great. You have really great fundamentals going on here. I mean, you probably draw full scale stuff. I know you haven't just drawn headshots and whatnot, but uh, thinking more critically, like when you post critique, asking yourself, why am I posting critique? Because at a point, sure, sometimes we can just have a piece and be like, I just want critique on this. I don't know. Just tell me if something's wrong. But like to really want to find that improvement, you need to ask yourself, like, why am I getting critique? What is the thing I'm struggling with? What is the thing I want to change? What is the thing I want to improve? And thinking about that kind of like just helps your mind focus in a direction, because the thing about art is it's subjective, and we have all of us here have our own style. We don't have your style because that's completely yours, and we all have different ways of thinking. So us telling you to, I don't know, I don't even know. Us telling you to do our style, basically, where we can't really, because we can sit here and be like, oh, the horn's off, the hair's not going right, but we can't help you stylistically unless you give us those questions. We can't help you, grow the direction you want to grow. We only know what we know. So it's
We
like
can help you explore style options, but we can't pick which one you should go for.
Because it's your
And
expression.
the style option that you need to go for to make your style work might be one that we don't draw.
yeah.
That's why looking at other people's art and other people and like looking to nature for inspiration is always good when you're like looking for a bit of a style overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, bottom line, no matter, like, no one should ever say like something cruel about this, because like regardless of what anyone says, like there's no way in hell I can look at this and think like this is a bad piece of art, because this is lovely and amazing, and like you clearly have an incredibly good grasp on like 3D space anatomy. So like just recognize that you have this thing that you can do that is great, and you don't need to take into account when if someone says otherwise, because you've got something great, and your own validation is the only thing that really matters at the end of the day.
Making art for you and saying, nah, everyone else, you can get screwed. That's
just
important.
recognize that you've done something amazing, and like that's all you need.
Hell yeah.
I find the thing that motivates me is just like I like drawing cute things, and as long as I draw a cute thing, I'm happy. I don't care whether anyone else likes it or not. And finding that style of energy, or like keeping up that style of energy, like that kind of motivation for yourself, is like one of the most difficult art things that I've found.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, feel free to chuck us more stuff in future because it's super good.
Yeah. All right. Shall we move on to the next one? I know we could philosophy for days on art because there's so much to be said, but we got a few more to do. We should probably keep going.
Oh, Glenn, the microphone is crazy.
Ooh, sorry for muting that temporarily. Holy crap, my earballs.
Earballs?
Yep.
You know.
That picture in my head, just like, I picture like, you know how like chameleons have like the eyeballs that stick on the side of their head, but like earballs. Just food for thought.
That's
Sorry about that.
a lot weirder. It's all right. We'll just stop grating cheese into the mic.
I don't do it on purpose, I swear.
You know, maybe for your birthday, Christmas, save up $20. You might day.
My mic is actually really high quality, and I'm really sad that it does that. I don't know what happens.
Oh no.
Bloody computers.
Bloody
computers.
You can always blame Microsoft, don't we?
Yep.
I'm doing that currently because it keeps telling me my USBs are malfunctioning, even though I don't know why.
Ooh, I got an answer for that. It's usually power.
But it's the same thing I talked about last week. We don't have to get into it now. I've tried like everything. I have no idea.
You just, plug a car battery into it. It'll be fine.
Okay.
So let's go on to this next picture. It is by Demon Slayer 3215. Try doing a new pose.
Nice. I love it when people challenge themselves to poses, especially action poses. So, claps. Good.
Yeah. Just a heads up, Demon Slayer. I noticed you posted 2 horses this week. Now, luckily separated by 24 hours. But if you aren't getting critique you're looking for and not really getting some guidance, maybe hop into our Discord and just plop the picture down into the critique channel. Usually there are people active now. It does take some time some days. I've seen pitchers wait around for a few hours, but most will get answers, especially if you just plop it in there and ask some direct questions like, what is going wrong with this wing, or things like that. It's the secondary source of horse critique by us. There you go.
I was lost in what to say on the previous drawing that I just started sketching on this one. And I have everything I have to say on the screen right now.
All right, then you start us
Go
off,
for
Len.
it.
All right. I noticed how the limbs have too many joints. I don't know if that's just like an art thing that happens, but there are 4 in the front legs and 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, almost 5 in the back ones. And usually I only use 3 joints my limbs. So I just wanted to point it out that having a limited amount of joints they put in your limbs is always useful so that it doesn't look wonky. Uh, I put an example here of how I would have done the legs. And here's for the back legs, even though it's just a line. Looks like a fucking lightning bolt. I also did the same thing for the wings, except the wings had one less than what I usually do. I honestly I put 3 joints in everything that have to do with ponies. I don't know why. I just realized it fits a lot better than more or less. So I put 3 joints in the wing, and it looks. I think it looks more dynamic than just having one straight line going to another straight line.
Yeah, I mostly agree with you. There is. I'm always a little bit wonky about this. Oh, come on, that one right there. At least in the way I draw it is I take that bone and I give them horrible arthritis and make it into one. But then I leave the rest because the hoof needs its little flexy bone. It needs to be more like a hand because they pick up things. At least the non-winged horses.
Yeah, I don't know. I just put 3 all the time because I don't know. Like for me, there's a bone that goes straight down, then it goes a little bit out, but that's because of the other bone that's going straight down. That might
No, I
be
mean
wrong.
you're not wrong. I'm just this is the other side of the coin. There is you can even reduce it further.
With a really good tip for ears is that you can draw one side of the ear as a straight line and the other side of the ear as just a curve. And that's a really simple way to sort of get a decent shaped ear that is that I still use a whole bunch in my art, and it's really really helpful. I think where you kind of are in your art journey is probably a lot more in the direction of you should probably figure out what makes you excited about drawing in general, drawing ponies. You know, is it drawing really cool action stuff? Is it drawing, just cute ponies doing cute stuff? Is it whatever? And then just like making sure that you're staying motivated and that you keep on drawing and that you keep on drawing based on references. So just, seeing other pictures of horses that people have drawn or seeing other or pictures of like real animals and that sort of stuff, and then drawing horses based on those animals, and just keep yourself motivated and keep on drawing, because that's going to help more than anything else, more than like trying to study learning and trying to study specific joints and all that sort of fun stuff. If you're motivated to if you're motivated to jump into drawing or learning about joints and doing all that sort of stuff, awesome, but don't stress out too much.
Yeah, as we have found out in previous streams, ponies are truly just cats and dogs in disguise.
Oh yeah, almost every single picture, like pony picture that I've drawn that I really like and I really enjoy, started off as a Bing search of like cats sleeping or something like that, and then I just like think, okay, how do I draw these cats but like as horses instead?
Oh, a note. I noticed your picture is small on the paper. We can compare it to the size of the rungs. That's pretty small. Go bigger. You got a lot of paper. Paper's cheap. Paper's really cheap. Go bigger. Bigger helps. It might seem very intimidating. It might be like, but I'm wasting paper. You know what? You can go buy an entire ream of white paper for really, really cheap. Sketchbooks, they're what, $10? I don't know. They're really cheap.
You can probably go pick up a sort of crap lined book for like 40 cents. And that's got like 60 pages in it or something like that. You can do whatever. Yeah, drawing big is something that helps because if when you're drawing like really small, it takes a lot of practice and effort to sort of get very defined shapes when you're drawing super small. Whereas if you are drawing big, it's a lot easier to sort of refine things and to end up with the sort of shapes that you wanna get because you've got a lot more wiggle room. You got a lot more stuff that
Damn
you
it, I was
can.
muted.
Hello
I
there.
was wondering why like that thing I was saying was being like responded to. Yeah, it just sort of like gives you more control, and it's easier to sort of put details and easier to position things. And it just becomes a lot harder just to sort of keep that steadiness when it's small. I was trying to say as well that you weren't interrupting me. I just forgot that I muted my mic when I went AFK. If it is a thing to do with like not wasting paper, you can always sort of like set like get a page, just be like this page is going to be one like headshot of a character. I'm going to draw it from like the neck up and take up the entire page. Like that's what this page is going to be. That is my like challenge for getting better at art. And so like it takes the pressure off of like I'm wasting a page doing all this. Like you like, that's the purpose of this page, so you're just fulfilling the page's purpose, you know. But it could also be like when I was little, when I was a little guy, I would sort of alternate between big drawings and little ones because like it does feel different, and I felt like with smaller drawings at the time it felt like I could sort of make things look nicer or control, I guess, because like when it's bigger you have more power to add details but also end up like accidentally, you know, with extra control comes extra responsibility, as it were. Like it's easier to accidentally make an anatomical mistake, whereas in small drawings with thicker lines, it's easy to sort of interpret what it is mentally. But that's what's worth recognizing is small. When you're drawing small, you are sort of interpreting very loose, broad lines in this like tiny little drawing. Whereas if you draw big, everything's very deliberate, and that is intimidating, as Zodi said. But it can be very rewarding to learn to draw that way, because then you do have more control. I think what I struggled with when I was little was, this is back sort of drawing like anime characters, like the sort of really crappy shapes and everything, like the most amateurish anime art you can imagine. It was that, and it was like drawing small, like at least sort of like draw a face, but with sort of, well, at least decently proportioned everything. But drawing big on the page, I always suffered from like the proportions just going completely wrong. Like the hair was always like really like had no volume to it. It was just like a line of spikes that like didn't even remotely, like I hadn't learned to realize how to look at it from a zoomed out perspective and see, oh wait, like the hair strands are way shorter in this version than they are in the small version, just because like your hand is like moving further on the page. Your brain is tricked into thinking, yeah, that's enough of a line, but it might not be. And then like the eyes are too big, and like they're sort of different sizes. It can be hard to see, but you eventually learn to sort of look back and see the bigger picture, and that is a very important skill to develop as well, is keeping that eye on the bigger picture.
Because you're kind of earlier on in your artistic journey, as it were. Something that could be pretty helpful is to like look at drawing from shoulder. So just Google drawing from the shoulder, and sort of it'll have a bunch of stuff about drawing from your wrist versus drawing from your elbow versus drawing from your shoulder, and getting into the habit of drawing from your shoulder and then going down as you need to is a really good habit to get into early, because it will help save your wrist. It'll help stop you from having pain when you draw, or being able to draw longer, or help you draw longer, and all that sort of stuff. So look up that, and then see if you can get into that kind of a habit, because that's something that will help you for the rest of your art career, or rest of like just the time that you keep drawing and stuff.
Yeah. Gotta protect the goods. Those wrists,
Yeah.
those wrists are precious.
I
didn't
don't
know
have
that.
particularly good wrists. I'm like, sort of snapping my wrist joints right now. Bit of a habit.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of one of those wrist braces? I mean, they work pretty well.
I've
They're
got
really-
one of those compression glove kind of things, and they can be pretty good. But I think I need to be careful with how I use it and that sort of stuff, especially because I'm not using
Yeah.
it with a doctor advising me how to and all that sort of stuff. There is a book called there is a book called Draw Stronger,
And is it where
and
you
it's
like curl
yeah,
weights?
it's literally just a book that like goes through. Okay, here is a bunch of like different advice for like how to draw, and like also be healthy while you draw, and also like keep good habits, and what to do if sort of you feel your wrist having a bit of trouble, or if this happens or if that happens. It's a really good book. I love it.
Yeah. You eat the book, and that's how artists become buff. That's the secret.
I've continuously told this, and people have not blended up their artwork. It bothers me. I don't understand how you don't want to take the shortcut. Speaking of shortcut, let's go to the next picture.
Yeah. But that book sounds really good. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, you want to, fire a link to that thing?
Will do. After I draw this horse trying to eat a book.
Nom nom nom.
That sounds like a Pinkie Pie thing.
Yeah, something really quick that I learned foolishly about a wrist brace is like you're really supposed to use it for downtime. You're not supposed to actively wear it while you're doing stuff. Because it's meant for recovery, and if you're like making your wrist move around in a thing that's trying to keep your wrist still, it's not good.
No, that's fair. So this next picture, middle left-hand corner, is by the Timberwolf. Yet another Pinkie Pie sketch. There's never enough Pinkie Pie sketch. You could sketch Pinkie Pie till the end of the universe, and there still wouldn't be enough. Because
It's
Pinkie
true.
Pie is going to stretch beyond that.
It's just we're continuing the infinities pool, spirit.
Did they have any specific questions or anything?
No. Oh wait, no.
So-
Actually, they do. I lied.
Oh,
How did I
Yay.
do on the hooves and eyes? I like how they came out, yet I feel like I've not drawn, or like I could have drawn them a little bit better.
I think the hooves look good. Something that I tend to keep in mind when I'm drawing hooves is that I always like to have the hooves near the ends of the hooves get like thicker, and something that will help is kind of deciding a direction that they face almost. And so like because once you have sort of a direction that they face, you can sort of have them pointing towards that kind of direction. Like this hoof is sort of pointing this sort of way, because that sort of makes sense for sort of the way that their thing is going. With the eyes, I think the eyes are good. You could probably make the head a fair bit smaller to fit with the rest of the body. But like in terms of like eyes in general, something that will be useful to keep in mind is that this eye is facing towards us. Like if we draw a box around the eye, this one is like a lot like something along these lines, and this eye, the far eye, is kind of like same height, but this one is a lot wider than this one because this eye is sort of facing towards us, and this eye is kind of facing off in that direction a bit. And so, in general, when you're like approaching drawing eyes, in these sorts of where the face is going either left or right, you can sort of just keep in mind that the eye that is facing the viewer, facing the camera, is going to sort of be wider than the eye that is like facing away, because that's the way that the head sort of works.
And a small tip I can also give, with kind of orienting the face all together, the eye is going to help you. Well, the whole the circle thing, right? You draw a circle and then you can kind of split it, and you get your grid going, and you can draw as many lines as you need or want to figure in align stuff. So like with the eyes, you can draw a height grid. It's like, okay, so if it's wrapping around the sphere, the eyes are gonna bloop and bloop. But the other thing I want to point out is muzzles. Muzzles tend to feed into the eye, especially at these like 3/4 turned kind of poses. This is definitely more like between 3/4 and front facing. I feel like it's more towards front facing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you don't have to have these lines connect, but having the muzzle kind of start near the eye, is really helpful instead of it just coming from the center of the face, because muzzles are not flat, they're 3D. They're kind of this block, right? Who's ever drawing the block. And that's something you have to keep in mind of as well. So like, just as you have a circle and your eyes go on either side of the circle, the muzzle too is going to exist on both sides of that line, that center line you draw. So if you start your muzzle, if you make that line protrude right from the center, then it's going to say, oh, the muzzle starts from the center. And that's not quite how it goes when you're trying to reach a more 3D thing. Yes, you can, do 2D stuff. Show does it all the time. It's fine. They break anatomy. Art will always break anatomy at some point for style, yada, yada, whatever your poison choice is. It's just something good to keep in mind for ponies, to just kind of like keep it a little more aligned with the eye and not just have it come straight from the center of the face.
I do really like this muzzle. I do have to say, I love it. It's a lot better than most of the muzzles from people around your sort of art level. Looks good.
So yeah, I definitely agree with the sort of stuff about facial construction. When I've said this before in this critique stream, but when let's see, what can I draw? I'm just gonna circle here. When I draw, I actually start with the nose. I'm like, here's the face, here's the sort of general like line. I usually only do the vertical line. Can't be bothered with your horizontal nonsense. I start with the nose. Like, okay, here's a cute nose, and then I can do the sort of like general shape of the eye that was badly positioned, and then the bridge curls out from the nose and connects into the off eye, and then from there it's like, okay, here's the cheek, and that goes into the chin, and then you can sort of define the back of the head, and then that goes into the ear, and it's like, and everything sort of like builds off of the last thing, so it all starts with that little snoot, the little booper snoot.
Yeah, and there's something I want to add, because like you have this line, right? You still have I'm underneath you. It's fine. The line that goes like this, you still have that go, but you still have it kind of going in line with the other eye. So it's not like it's in the middle of the face. It's actually like you could curve it up and then it would meet the eye.
I was gonna sort of do that. I was just trying to. There we go. I have actually done images before where I have sort of tried to. Obviously, this is a very small little doodle. But I have done things before with oh my god, I have no color for drawing, where allowing for a bit more detail, where I have sort of done a little bit of a nice little connection, just like a very subtle little thing as well. But it's very nice to play with those connections and play with the shapes, because it's really fun once you understand the sort of 3D aspect there.
Yeah. I'm just clarifying because I'm paranoid. You don't have to connect all the lines. Not all the lines need to connect.
Yes.
That was
It's
more
just
for me,
about
because I know I was
understanding.
pointing out. Yeah. It's just good to have these shapes lead into each other. Because a lot of art is your eye kind of finishing stuff, and if it's
Yeah.
sometimes like it's really dumb. I know I've caught myself where it's like, oh, this line just is like 26 degrees off, or not even like 6 degrees off from where I needed to lead into, and it's like messing with the whole flow of it because it's like not quite leading into the next line, even though I don't want to draw the entire line. Yada yada, artist problems. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But like
Len,
I do
you
also
wanted to.
I oh sorry Pixie, you can go first.
Oh no, I thought you were finished. I just want Len to go into her stuff once you're all done.
Yeah, I had sort of like a
Oh, sorry, go
conclusion
into your
thing.
stuff.
So do you do the hoof, Len? Is that you?
Yeah, I did hoof.
Oh yeah, okay. Cool. The only thing I was going to say was like we were sort of talking about like having this like construction of the face and everything, which is actually sort of closer to the picture before last that we were looking at. It had a very like nice like anatomical construction. Like what you've got here like is different. That doesn't mean that it's wrong or that it's bad. I think you've got a very expressive, very adorable cartoony style, and it's very cute to look at. And if what you want out of art is less to have like a strictly constructed construction of a face with like anatomy that makes sense, if what you want is to have something expressive and fun and cute, then like you're definitely achieving that with this style. And you could like maybe experiment with having more of a sort of a sort of neater line art and have a sort of like uh illustration looking shapes and cell shading, and try different art styles. So I think cartoony things could work really well with what you've got here. It's a very cute face, and I think it works. You've got a very nice expression, and it's if what you want is just to draw something cute, then you can achieve that without having like a lot of construction. So it's just a matter of doing what you sort of feel comfortable with in your art, depending on like the direction that you want to take it. And if it gets stressful, then maybe it's not for you, and that's fine.
Cuteness is better than being correct. Len, what sort of stuff did you want to dig into?
I was just gonna say like more about the nose being aligned with the eyes. I drew a human face, which is honestly just a elongated face of a horse if you really think about it. So I feel like even in humans, the eyes are still kind of on the bridge of the nose, and it relates to ponies. If you know how to draw humans more than ponies, it kind of helps.
Yeah. That's a rule that it's a nitpick I always have with everyone here in this critique stream has stuff that we like to sort of look at. Like LD's usually the first to point out the missing second ear and stuff like that. I dislike when, and it is subjective, but if someone has an art that's like this, like to me the eye is not positioned correctly. It should start. Oh, my pen has gone weird. It should start here in the center point and branch out, because you got to think about like the bridge of the nose, and that's a starting point. You got like the little the sort of fleshy bit in the corner there as well, which you don't have to draw. It's a stylistic thing if you want to draw that. But I am very sort of picky about making sure the eyes have this sort of branching outwards shape, going like this way,
Hmm.
and then like back down. But yeah.
And it's good to keep in mind that all this sort of stuff, all this like proportiony kind of like how different parts of the face relate to each other kind of a thing, all of this stuff is stuff that will like come more and more easily to you as you draw more and as you do things like the thing that I exalt all the time, life drawing, and as you just draw based on references and all that sort of stuff, the more that you do all that sort of stuff, the easier all this will become. And it won't seem like it because it takes a fair bit of doing, but it'll become easier. Don't stress too much. I always like the thing of like cute for me is better than correct because I enjoy things that are cute and it keeps me motivated and stuff. And so if it's not exactly correct, who cares? I can always draw another picture and have another chance to make something that looks correct. If this thing doesn't look correct, whatever. Not that big of a deal. Something that I always like doing. This is a little Pix tip. Is when I like
Pixie.
pro tips. Whenever I draw the basic head shape, so just like that circle thing with the line and the other line, I always try to mark out where is the side of the head. So, for example, with this sphere in particular, the side of the head is kind of here, and so this area is somewhere where the eyes and the nose and all that won't be touching. And so, I might have the muzzle. Let me switch to a different slide of picture. So I might have the muzzle doing something like this. Cool, all good. Have the eyes doing something like that. But the eyes won't dig into this area. And, this area will be part of the head. But it won't be, all that sort of stuff. Just marking out where the side of the head is and keeping in mind that, don't fill up that area with anything is a really simple thing that'll sort of help your heads feel a little bit more defined.
It's just a matter of different approaches. Like this you can see the circle that Pixie's drawn here is we've seen him do this over and over again, and it's obviously what makes Pixie feel comfortable building a head. I do just like similarly, but just the circle with the vertical line, and pretty much that's it. And LD likes to sort of define out the different like sectors that sort of parts fall into and use all the measurements and everything, and all of it is just like different approaches to how you build something up. And you might just have like a vague squiggle of a circle and like build everything from there. It's absolutely fine whether you just try different techniques, I think, but whether you feel comfortable building everything up structurally, or whether you feel comfortable just eyeballing it, it's not wrong. It's just different approaches. I definitely recommend trying what Pixie was doodling over there, just to see how it works for you.
That said, my approach is like obviously correct, but like if you want to, I guess you can do your own approach. So that's fine too. Silly.
You cheeky duffer.
Oh, he's using your language.
Yeah,
he is. He's trying. It's good.
I still went a bit British though.
Bridging the
Sorry,
gap.
we like half of Australian is British, so
Yeah.
that's all good. The other half is American, and it's confusing.
Shall we move on to this green horse?
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
right.
Green horse.
Sitting here trying to figure out a line color that I will be able to draw over it with. Hear me
Purple.
out. Blue on a difference layer.
Oh Jesus!
So
I was trying to figure out how to draw it.
this is by Circuit Main and is Bagel/Frisbee Art Challenge. This was for another challenge, drawing a frisbee and a bagel in a pitcher. Decided to combine words. Tried my best to incorporate images that I could reference with the positions. Harder to do standing, throwing than you would think. Also tried my hand at shading a little bit. Took a few hours to finish.
So this is not a bagel, but a word pun frisbee. I don't know. I'm not.
It is a bagel, but they're throwing it like a frisbee.
Okay, it's just a different pronunciation of the word bagel then. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's pronounced bagel.
Obviously.
Bagel.
I used to spell bagel wrong all the time, so whenever I had to write a grocery list, I'd put like blueberry beagle. So-
And then one day, Inky returned with the dog.
Yeah.
This is when I was a kid, but I still do make the mistake. I won't lie.
I don't think I've ever eaten a bagel before.
Me neither.
Hmm?
I hear it's good with cream cheese. Is that right? Or am I thinking of something else?
I think that's a Philadelphia or a New Jersey thing. I don't remember.
Cream cheese
Apparently
is
they're
pretty
rivals.
standard. I don't like it, but it's pretty standard.
Bagels
We've
are
got
so
someone-
hard. I don't like them.
We've got someone drawing an amazing thing over there. Whenever I draw ponies, I always really like to push these are horses and they do horse things. So if I was approaching this kind of a picture, I'd probably be like, have them like chucking it with their mouth and stuff, and be like, thing is going
Yeah,
away.
exactly. I would definitely have the same approach, but you've chosen to do a more human shaped action, and that's okay. If that's what you want to do.
That's fine. It's all good. Just different approaches.
Yeah, that's the name of this stream. It's all those different ways.
I
of
thought it
doing
was the
things.
MLPDS crit stream.
Whoa!
It's the subtitle.
Ah,
Is we all have different approaches.
I really want a reference. I need a human reference.
I'm gonna take this.
Grab a mirror.
Turn down the opacity, and I'm just gonna fit. Wait, how do I do this again?
Just
Fill.
say, hey, Inky, chuck something for me.
You pretend to have just thrown a frisbee. Okay, thanks. Just stand there. About 10 minutes, thanks.
Yep. Sick.
Jam. I think it's jam. In response to Maze. Sorry, they're asking what the red in the bagel is. I hope it's jam.
I think that we're also disappearing into the void. slowly getting more and more.
I was trying to. My layer fill color didn't seem to work properly. I was trying to make it easier to draw on because it's a bit. My drawing with a difference blending mode didn't really pan out.
I think it did. I think it worked.
It's just a bit tricky to. I was trying to do an under sketching, and then it was like not as easy.
What I think the gist of this is change up the footing, put a bit of weight in it, make it slightly more animated, and it will very much change it. And the best way to do that, references.
References
True
and
that.
How
action
I would think
lines.
about this. This isn't necessarily like how I'm not draw. What I'm drawing right now isn't like what you should have drawn this. This is before. This is the before of what you're drawing. They're holding the frisbee, and they're like, "I'm gonna chuck it," and then in this one, we want them to have that motion. So the arm is gonna swoosh around, or foreleg has swooshed around. So now it's like this. We want to try and get that motion in there, and really like selling the twist of the body is going to be the thing. So it's just a matter of like looking up references, like Ellie said, to see things like this in like animation, cartoons and stuff like that. How a character is drawn to have this pose, like how is the body positioned, how is it sort of like twisting, where are the like four limbs positioned, because right now it sort of just looks like they're like pointing or saluting at the flying bagel, and what you want to do is to really sell the idea that they've thrown it. It basically looks like the bagel is hovering directly forward from their face, just by the little motion lines we've got here. It was totally fine to have like cartoony effects like that, but yeah, it looks what is happening is it's being swoosh and flying off in this direction at a high speed as it's left their hoof. Their hoof has created that momentum, so it's not going to be like a static thing where they're like standing in such a sort of static pose and then just like move their leg outwards. It's got to have that like oomph to it,
This is a point where so if you look for references of someone throwing a frisbee, a lot of the time what you're going to get someone is just standing there pretending that they've thrown a frisbee, and then you'll end up with an
Yes.
image that looks something along these lines. When you're looking at these sorts of poses that are part of like a very dynamic action, you've got the build up, you've got the thing, you've got the hoof going all over like that. What can be like a lot more helpful to you is to look at videos of this. So look at a video of someone throwing a frisbee, maybe even just like sitting in your chair, do the motion yourself a few times so you can sort of go through the actions and see which parts
I
are
was going to say,
important.
clearly what we
And
need to do
then-
is we'll get frisbees and go outside and just start throwing them and having fun. And
Yeah.
the reference-
And then once you've got that video and you're looking at it, pause on a frame of them actually like throwing a frisbee, and then try to redraw that frame of the video of them paused, because that's going to be them actually making the action. That's going to be them actually having all of the weight that they have. That's not going to be like them standing out, pretending that they've thrown it, and then having someone,
Yeah, it's
walk
not
around it for
a
20
forced
minutes.
pose. It's actually the pose.
Especially when you're going for action poses, videos, and then pausing it is a lot better than reference images a lot of the time, or professionally captured reference images.
I don't know. I'm finding some pretty great pictures of college dudes playing extreme frisbee. What is it? Frisbee golf? I don't know what it is. There's a cool frisbee thing, right?
Some drinking game, probably. I'm guessing.
No, I've seen in parks they have like dedicated frisbee golf things. It's
Yeah, I
like
used
it's
to
like a
play.
thing.
It's not a thing. No, it's disc golf. Disc golf.
Disc golf.
Maze is right about it. It's called disc golf. You have little targets you're throwing at, and your goal is to hit the pin and get it into the like cage catch, or you can land it directly in there. It's weird and it's kind of interesting. And yes, you do just get bombed playing it most of the time.
I'm glad that my instincts were correct. That's my Australian coming through. I know a drinking game when I see it.
I'm just
Cage.
happy to throw a thing around and roll around on the grass. It's fun.
Low impact sports make great drinking games.
Yeah. So I mentioned action. I said the word action lines or the phrase action lines earlier, but like to just explain it a little bit. With a dynamic pose like this, yeah, looking at like a video and pausing it is like awesome and like great. But like also draw as the first thing you draw, or one of the early things you draw a line that is like sort of you can think of it kind of like from the back, from like one of the feet through to like the hand, or through to like through the spine, through the whatever, and then use that as sort of a reference as like, here is your basic kind of like action. And then you can like build all of your like things, all of your like limb positions, all of your movements, all of your everything around that very specific line. And it just helps build how dynamic your thing is.
It's a thing for fluid motion. It's a good technique. Also, I just noticed what on earth is to the top right of your live action drawing there.
I'm silly.
Not quite sure what I'm looking at.
This picture is a really good picture.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks.
It's really dynamic. It especially this is an example of something where you see shoulders are sort of facing this way, hips are tilted this way, and you'll see like if you draw contour lines over it, this is kind of like boom, and this is kind of like they're very, very much in sort of distinct directions. And so like that just adds to the sort of how dynamic it is.
Yeah, I got a tip from like if I want to do dynamic poses to always put one line contrary to the other in the hips and the shoulders, because it always makes the piece more interesting. I don't remember which YouTuber, but I could probably find the video again.
Probably all art YouTubers. It's a really, really useful tip. And this is an example of something where you will see that sort of pinch and extension shape. You've got the pinch, you've got the extension. That's good.
All right. I love that we turned the bagel into an entire head. That does improve the...
I couldn't resist. It was right over the body, okay?
Do we want to move on to our next picture?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Horse.
I need to
More
try
horse.
a bagel sometime.
They're good. I really enjoy bagels. It's a tighter knit consistency than like a more dense consistency than your average loaf of bread. It's more towards what you get out of like rye bread, or not rye bread, but like pumpernickel, where it's kind of thicker. But they're usually made. Well, at least the way I like to get them is sort of made with a partial sourdough bread, where it's sort of tangy and delicious, and then just covered in stuff. I love ones done up with like cinnamon or apple or cranberry.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I have never tried any of this, and I don't really know how to make foods. So.
They just sound like donuts.
They're like, okay, so
More
it's like
bready?
if 5
bread
slices of
donuts.
sandwich bread was condensed into one thing. It's
Yeah.
like
That sounds hard to eat.
it's not. It's really not. It's pleasant, especially when toasted. It's really good. And yeah, cinnamon
Okay.
raisins. Best.
'Cause, like,
Blueberry.
bread,
Ooh,
the bread I
cheese.
eat is
Oh, there's
already
so many
dense
good
enough
ones.
as it is. But I get you.
So
Yeah.
this picture is by Supermarine. Wait, let me double check that one. Yeah, Supermarine Spitfire.
So this on the
Superman
channel.
Spitfire.
Yeah.
A drawing for
Cute.
Hearts and Hooves Day event, doubling as an opportunity to draw a dragon and a hippogriff.
Yeah.
I don't think I've actually drawn a hippogriff yet.
I also like the hippogriff sandbar. I think it's an interesting idea you've gone for.
I like it.
No, that's the brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
Terramar. Okay, so I
Yeah.
got the names confused. Okay, I remember them. I remember them discussing this in the channel, and I got the name confused.
Jeez,
They
how
are
could
similar
you forget even a single horse on the horse show?
enough. Like, usually when I try to name all the main 6, there's one that my brain has to hang on for a second, and be like, wait, which one am I missing?
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. It's usually Twilight, because she's like definitely background character, right?
No,
Oh yeah,
Who's
100%.
Twilight?
she's so good.
It's
You're
that
mean.
movie and book about the glowy or the sparkly
Oh,
vampires.
no.
Oh, right.
She's some boomer character. Don't worry.
The
Us new fans don't remember
Though,
her.
to be fair, we do have like ponies that have like crystally fur. They're all just Twilight vampires.
So yeah, bonus points and double bonus points and 20 points to Gryffindor for trying something new and trying different characters that you haven't tried before. That's always good. It's how you can happily
yeah.
expand your art knowledge. If you keep doing the same thing, sure it can improve, but you know, trying something new is how you started art anyway. You had never drawn a picture before, and now you had. And that's how you started art. So continuing that theme of drawing something new and weird and different, it's great. Do it.
Drawing weird, new, different things is fun. I like it.
Hell yeah.
Can recommend. 10 out of 10. Especially because you learn different features, like drawing Spike. You learn like all these like weird little koboldy sort of dragony sort of weirdness things, and you have all these different like features and stuff. This is an example of something where good knowledge of the 3D stuff will really help, because this part here specifically is just a contour that sort of follows the body along, and so
Iguanas are a great example of these. And then you just duct tape wings to them.
and spiders.
Don't
duct tape wings to spiders. I mean to snakes. Spiders
Okay.
don't need wings. They
So-
can already jump far enough as is.
Well, there's also flying spiders. Do you not have flying spiders there?
Don't give me nightmares.
Not in my house right now.
Flying spiders are great.
Like,
Like occasionally you'll be whapped in the face with a web and you'll be like, oh, not these guys again.
I would rather not.
They can't be
fun.
fully grown. They can only be babies, but they just cast a web up into the air and they can ride on wind currents with just the piece of web.
Right?
You
Okay,
heard
It's
about the
amazing.
insect
I gotta
highway?
admit, that's pretty skills.
No, but like, have you heard about the insect highway? Because apparently, like, bajillions of
What?
insects are constantly above us at all times.
What?
No.
Have fun googling that. Anyway.
No. No,
I
I
imagine-
won't do
I've
that. I'm
just-
gonna go eat ice cream and forget you said that.
I've just tuned all of that chat out. Don't worry about it.
Fascinating, but also terrifying.
No, it's fine because I'm only 6 feet tall. I am not part of the internet or insect highway.
I completely.
Thanks, Maze.
No,
thanks, Mace.
God, no.
go
It's
away,
cute.
Maze.
It's cute. Don't worry. It's cute.
It is a cute art, but I don't want to think about it. All
Come
bugs
on.
can go away.
Come on, Aggie.
Except
With
changelings.
the, I think my wings showed up a little bit. Yeah. If you look at that sort of far wing that I drew, this one, with this, I've sort of made this one a bit shorter, and you can sort of keep this wing like big and all that sort of stuff. And it's just a really simple way to sort of add some differences to the wings, because having visual differences is really exciting. So you can do some weird stuff like that if you want to.
We're also missing a second wing on the hippogriff. You've made it clear the wings pop up above your body design, so let's give that second wing popping up. You know, just make this stuff popping. Pop, pop, yo.
Is Terama? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just changing up Terama's front hoof a little bit to have the spiky bits on the opposite side.
To follow the hair, right?
They're weird. I always found hippogriffs hard because they have like the pointy body, but they also have the talons. Like they have like claws, so they have that
Mhm.
extra like it almost feels like a wrist joint because it's like the wrist where the hooves would be, and then fingers come out, so they feel extra long and awkward in the art to me.
Mm.
It-
Yeah, they
it's-
can sort of have that effect. It would be interesting to see different interpretations of how you sort of attach them to the body. I've not actually tried drawing a hippogriff. I need to make a hippogriff. I think it would be cute.
Yeah, you've got like these similar sorts of like puffy offy bits on like the Kirin, and they're like really interesting to draw. I drew some Kirin a while ago, and it was like, whoa, this is so strange and weird. With the wing, I like having. I think earlier in the stream I sort of talked about this idea of like the ears being a flat side and then a curved side, and I kind of like that sort of a thing, that sort of idea for the wings, to give them a little bit more of a defined shape. So sort of one side that's like more straight, and then the other side that's sort of more curved is kind of how I approach it. But yeah, just an idea. Art is all about finding the little tips and bits and tricks and stuff that works for you.
Art.
Art. Also, I totally didn't start talking about wings so that I could convince Len to keep drawing amazing wings.
Psychology.
Actually-
Yeah.
Personally,
good.
oh no, why is my pen not working? Okay, I think I'm on the wrong layer. My thing won't let me switch.
That's why I named my layer Pix a Crit, because so I could
My-
remember.
My Aggie isn't letting me change layers. That I click
That's
on.
that's weird,
I have to
Pixie.
refresh quickly.
I named my
Every-
layer number 2 because it's the shit.
Oh my god.
that way.
Oh my god. I usually just name mine like Zai Sketch or something. But it's not that I've lost them, it's just Aggie is like, oh wait, you exist? You wanna do something? Nah. You can't do anything. Now it's just not loading, so I guess Aggie has decided that my connection is going to die. So, yeah.
I
I was going to say
can't.
the wing that I guess was that Ren who drew that. Oh no, or were you doing the Smolder? Who drew the wing on Terramar? The
I did.
the back wing.
I drew the
Okay.
second wing.
Yeah, I just personally would think just diverging opinions. I think it would go like a little bit further in. Okay, then now it's letting me do it. I think it would go a bit further inwards like this, just by like the 3D perspective. But that's just me.
I like lopsided wings. What can I say?
Yeah. Or if your thing was like it was lifting up, that sort of makes sense.
Yeah, you'll see me doing some like erasing on back here.
That was weird. But at least Aggie let me draw it in the end.
Heck yeah, messing about and seeing what works.
Yeah. That's some cool wing shape.
Shall we move on to the next one? We just got 2 left, and then we're done.
Yes. Well,
Absolutely. We're an hour and 40 minutes in. Jesus.
Oh wow.
Long stream. All right, we got pancakes.
Happy birthday!
That's how it goes. This is by the Spud Gun Gamer. I believe they're the person I actually wanted to directly address on a separate topic. Let me double check. Yes, Spud Gun Gamer. Cool. You drew a horse.
Teacher wants to call out you right in front of the class.
Yeah, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out here, buddy. Let's talk about posting on our subreddit. On the side, does it even say that anymore? Oh gosh, it doesn't. Oh no, it's under the guidelines. Okay. Anyway, no one ever reads those things, so I'm just going to reiterate it for you because no one ever reads our guidelines anyway. Don't post multiple times a day. And the reason I say this is not because we aren't looking for art. We love art. That's why this thing exists. That's why we've been doing this for 10 years. We love art. We love helping people. But we have a personal belief, and it has yet to be rocked too hard. People can't improve in a day. There's no amount of critique we can funnel into your ears and eyes to help you improve majorly or enough in a day that you can go back, pump out a bunch more pictures, and have brand new things that can be improved and changed and wildly altered. You got to take time for stuff to absorb and stuff to process. So post a picture. If you have multiple pictures, do what a bunch of other people do. Create a gallery of those pictures. They'll post it. I believe yours was Imgur anyway. No, yours was posted directly to Reddit, which doesn't support that feature, so kind of moot on that one. But if you post to like a site like Imager or there should be a gallery feature in some of the Reddit posting styles. I'm not quite sure how to do it. Either way, post your best picture, post a gallery, post whatever you can. Try not to post multiple times, especially without processing the critique you've gotten. If you haven't gotten critique, go hop on our Discord and go ask for it directly. And I'm not saying this because I'm like, no, bad posting. I'm saying this because it helps. When a lot of art is posted, it can turn people away from trying to critique, trying to post their own arts. We try and keep it down and confined so more people can try and process this information that's being given.
It can also help because it forces you to decide, okay, which picture is going to be the main picture that I am happy with and that I want feedback on and that I want to see what people say about it. Also, because it says the world ends, I drew a bunch of fire in the background. With this in particular, this one shape, I love it. It is perfect and it's great and I love it.
Yeah.
Don't be too scared to when it comes to the cutie marks and that sort of stuff, to just simplify them. Like whenever I'm sketching, I'll just be like, boom, 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 and then if I'm feeling like super fancy, I'll do this in like a pink, and then I'll like do these little extra bits in like a white if I'm like feeling super fancy. But don't be too scared to. Yeah, don't be too scared to just like have like simplified stuff, because it can help a lot in terms of just like pumping out pictures and drawing things quickly. But like, I do really like how this works. I think this wing would probably sit over the top of it, so you wouldn't see like the top of the fly thing there. But like, yeah. Also, don't be too scared to make the ears big. Ears can get really big and still look like they fit. So it's always good to make them big and then dial them back a bit whenever they get too crazy big. With this front hoof, I think that it looks good. I do like the something that you have that not a lot of people do is this top thing. I'd probably put it sort of over here because I think that it would around the back, the hoof would sort of connect in this kind of a way, but around the front it's sort of it's sort of that pose where you see them looking over their shoulder. It's kind of like that a little bit, but you can make this front hoof a little bit longer because boom, 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 and boom are about the same size when that's extended. When this like end is pushed a bit.
Are those the lizards screeching in the background again? Or is that an actual bird?
Oh, for me, probably a bit of both. Mostly birds. The birds are annoyed because it's just rained and they're like, now I need to sit in a wet tree. Yeah,
I feel that.
that's my chair, Maze. Yep. Screeching of the damned coming from my chair. Damn you, Officeworks, for selling horrible things. No, but in general, I like this picture. Looks good.
Yeah. Oh, there's one last thing I wanted to add. Speaking of, like, if you have a bunch of art you want to post, and we were saying you don't need to get critique on it, the same thing with the Discord. Hop on in. You can just share your art. We have an art channel. People share their art. We're like, oh, cool. There's this thing called a plus plus. We're like, yeah, that's really cool. And you can just, if you have a bunch of art and you just want to share it, hop on the Discord.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I drew a pony with pancake splat.
Pancake face. That's got to be really hard to remove syrup from that much hair.
Yes, she's gonna hit for a nightmare.
I drew a
Night
pony
hair.
panicking because
See-
there's fire and it's crying out the fire with its tears because the world's ending.
Because the world ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like fire, hellfire. No? Oh wait, that's copyrighted.
Honestly,
Oh god, that's Disney. Oh no!
They're coming.
Alright,
I
let's
think
do.
we're okay for referencing a single lyric.
You say that, but YouTube is silly.
No, but LD is like the greatest lyricist in the world. So it's instantly going to get claimed.
So, last but not least, we have Zara's picture, who, despite being in this chat, we saved their picture for last because
You got
You
poke
just
us.
decided to break the rules that we
Yeah.
normally have.
We need poking. If you're here, just poke us.
at least they were in
Yeah.
the chat. They said something a little while ago.
We were.
Oh, they're there.
No, they're not here. Don't
They're
tell
here. They're grumpy. The grumpy, the punky, grumpy punk.
So, I noticed Fluttershy's got a bit of a badonkadonk on this one. Like her badonkadonk goes somewhere here and then disappears up here. Like that's a pointy butt.
Listen, she can have a junk in her trunk if she wishes.
Is it the cake?
It needs to be consistent, Junkie. Just
I think I rolled a-
following the underlines along is really good.
I feel like of the main six, this one feels like the least likely to be a bodybuilder.
You know what? The quiet ones really know how to pound a gym. I've watched this before.
If
She did
that was
break
true, I would have used my gym membership within the last 7 years.
Well,
We
motivation.
do have to remember Fluttershy like snapped a bear's neck, so like
Yeah, she killed that bear.
you kind of have to be jacked to do that sort of stuff.
You kind of have to be.
Just a little bit.
Oh, now I want to see Fluttershy drawn as one of those big, beefy horses that, like, pull carts and stuff. I think she'd look really cute with long, fat locks and just a really luscious mane,
Hmm.
but big and beefy.
Long fat locks are really good. I like them.
Yeah.
I need to try drawing them.
It
I think I tried once and I got annoyed because I was like, there's too much like fuzzy, fluffy stuff here, and I'm not good at like drawing that. So
That sounds like a better reason to draw it.
yeah, I know, but at the same time I'm lazy. I'm like, I just want to draw cute stuff and not care.
I feel that. I feel that.
Damn laziness always getting in the way. There's always cute horses to draw.
Yeah. This sort of stuff, the specific, muscly sort of stuff. This like you're really in luck with drawing this sort of stuff because a lot of artistic references and a lot of anatomy courses like Proco stuff, like this and that, a lot of them focus on this kind of figure because it shows off the muscle, because it shows off all that sort of stuff, and a lot of like people who are trying to teach anatomy are trying to like teach people about here's how all of the muscles go and here's how all of this goes. So like in terms of like getting all of the muscular stuff and all of this kind of thing looking accurate, you can jump into a lot of different anatomy sort of tutorials on YouTube and anatomy books and that sort of stuff. Probably, and it will probably help a bit better than the random stuff that I'm sort of drawing on, I guess.
I changed up the hair a little bit because I felt like it was a little bit too gravity defying. Like at the top, and it kind of just went behind the head. And honestly, I don't like to put hair kind of just hidden behind the head, because it just kind of goes nowhere. And I don't know. I feel like hair should be more prevalent, like beside the
Yes.
head and like behind it, or like in front of
Oh
the
yeah, I
shoulders and
super love
stuff.
that as well. Like the sort of draping on shoulder thing you done, sort of different layers. It's so good. It's fun to play around with the like weight of hair as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a thing stuck on the head. It's a substance, it's a material with weights like curtains made up of lots of little strings. But it has physics, and it's fun to draw on this physics.
Heck, I even think a ponytail would look really cute here because, like, you're working out, you want your hair out of your face, you're lifting heavy objects. So,
True.
like,
It's worth experimenting with.
that's not even like a critique. It's just like, hey,
Yeah, it's just a suggestion. It's all like
ponytail.
different approaches.
I'll draw a little hair scrunchy thing that's like flying off. It was
couldn't be
keeping the hair
contained.
like nice. Yeah.
The hairstyle reminds me of Cora.
Oh, true.
It does.
I mean, yeah, it works.
It's amazing you can just like do that though.
I do a lot of hair. I love drawing hair. It's so fun.
I need to get better with like my sort of like hair designs. At the moment, my approach is sort of like the cartoonist character design approach of like, let me just like block out a shape and then turn that shape into the sort of like hair that this character is gonna like permanently have forever. Like in terms of like how we see like cartoon characters and stuff, because like that's what I grew up with. That's how I understand like this character has one outfit and one hairstyle that is always the same.
My advice, Zai, is to like get a page, draw like a standard sort of horse head with a horn on it, and then just like copy that along like 600,000 times.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then just like draw a bunch of different hairstyles, and like
Yeah.
90% of them will be like awful, but then like you can go like, all right, I've done this once. Now let's go through and pick out the ones that I like, and then you'll be like, okay, I've ended up with like 6 that I like, and then you can keep those 6, erase the rest of them, and then just like try again and try again.
Yeah. I always end up getting into like okay, I'm drawing this character and now I have to like design the hair, and it's like, oh god. I just like block out shapes and just scribble with things. I start like very, very loose, just like literally just throwing lines on at random, and then I just sort of let my brain interpret that into a shape and then try to understand what that shape is. Some work. I love the gift that not gift, the image that May's put into the Yu-Gi-Oh has some weird characters. I just have to imagine this guy getting like dressed for work the morning, like okay, mom, I'm off my new job as a bodyguard. Like I got my new hairstyle. My god, could poke someone's eye out with that.
Oh, super nitpicky, but I think I would, if it were me, with the teeth here, I'd get rid of this line, this vertical line, because you wouldn't that line is a very cartooned line, and I don't think you would see it
Honestly,
with her smile. Like her mouth wouldn't be so wide open that we'd see her teeth end. It's kind of like they'd go into her mouth.
honestly, you can get away with just having like a smaller thing like this and just leave it white. Like that's what I do sometimes.
I mean, I'm fine with the clenching because it's kind of like the clenching of the
Yeah.
teeth. Just like don't have this line. You can just have the straight line kind of feeding into her side of her lip there. It's super small, super. Because it just, I don't know, it just feels like it's just her teeth, kind of like.
Yeah, there probably is a bit of a way to make it work, but it would probably involve pushing the mouth out that way a little bit, and like making Fluttershy more distinctly angry.
Mm-hmm.
Like grr.
Like, is she actually angry? Or is she just like exerting? That's what I
Well,
was.
they end up looking the same.
I
It doesn't
guess so.
matter.
The mouth,
Yeah,
it's the mouth shape that's the same. It's the eyes that make the difference.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of
between.
experimenting with over here in a more cartoony sort of light, was because this is what I do, like maybe not exactly this way, but when I'm trying to work out expressions, sometimes I'll just block out very like raw cartoony like idea of the expression and then start to like refine it. So it's sort of like, if they're like pushing, maybe their like cheeks would be pushed up a little bit, like they're not like necessarily angry, but just sort of you have that like exerting force, you putting pressure in your face, the blood vessels are sort of pumping up, like. So
Yeah,
trying to
they're
work
saying
out
that
the
they're going for like a surprise look, but I think it's like so
Oh,
it's like
okay.
surprise while gritting. So like even your eyebrows, if you
That's
get them to do
difficult.
like the upward tilt, like well, that looks more like you get rid of the angry and you
Yeah.
just get the eyebrow tilt, like you get that nice like what?
It's tricky to show that with the the idea of force as well, though.
It's a very specific combination of like things. This is probably an example of where like getting your phone and like clicking it to camera mode, or getting a
Honestly,
or like just going to a mirror somewhere and then just being like, okay, let me like make a bunch of faces and then like figure out which one of those faces works.
honestly, again, I sort of said this before, but it depends on like the interpretation of what you're trying to put forward with this piece, and what you're trying to do with your art in general. Because if I was thinking about this from like a sort of realistic like photo like painted like person, obviously you're going from like more of a you're creating a still image and putting a lot of effort into this still image. So you're trying to tell as much story as you can with that single thing. If I was imagining this more as like a sort of cartoon of this character lifting weights, and then another person calls their name, like they're like her, and like have this like moment of surprise before like maybe like dropping their arms down with the weights, like they sort of like lose their focus for a second and it drop them, and it takes their arms with them. But like it would be that sort of like sequence of events, and I would be capturing that moment of like surprise where like they completely lose the like focus before they end up like sort of faltering a little bit. So it'd be a case of just like deciding what that story is, what is not just this specific moment, but the moments before and after. Like, what is the sequence of events, and which of those exactly am I trying to draw? Because then it can help you to determine like how to tell that story. It may be more thought putting into it than what you want to do at the moment, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. Expressions are fun. They're hard, but
I
they're really
love
fun.
expressions so much. And like I know I what I'm saying might to some people sound like oh my god, like how could I put that much, like that's such a crazy amount of like thought to go into just like drawing a face. I just want to put lines down and draw a face. But I don't know, like I draw a lot of art where it's just like I love messing with expressions, and I love creating extremely complex arrays of feel, because like people we define feelings by like happy and angry and sad, but then those are like broad like categories. I imagine emotions like the color wheel on our canvases, where we have like a broad like sections of this is where red is, this is where green, and this is where blue is. But within those and between them, there's no like defining lines that will just like slightly different colors, and within them those you have specific different combinations of like saturation and brightness. Emotions are the same way. We have like a million trillion different emotions, because what we have is reactions to specific stimuli, both passive and more direct, that we are holding in our mind at that particular moment. And so like drawing an expression to me is understanding everything that is happening in this character's mind, like taking in who they are as a person and what they're feeling and what they're going through in the specific moment, big and small, and trying to express that as a face. And maybe that's from like being an autistic person and like having to put extra effort into understanding how expressions work, but I don't know.
It's
It's a
kind
lot
of
of
like
advanced stuff, but I only do it because it's fun. You don't have to do this stuff. It's just really fun to like explore this specific, like, here are all the things that this character is feeling, here's how I'm going to show it on their face.
it's kind of like, when you're an artist, what you're doing is you're basically like placing and drawing digital actors, and like you have the
Yes.
actor, the whole actor thing of like, you have this character that's on screen for about like 2 seconds, and then the actor will be like, okay, what's like my backstory, what's my this, what's my that, and then it's like, well, you just you're on screen for 2 seconds, who cares? But to the actor, it's like, well, I need to know like what my
Yeah.
emotions are in this scene, what I'm feeling,
Yeah.
all this sort of stuff. So
It is
same
very
same.
important. Yeah, because every second is still, because that's the thing, is like with life, like you walk past 100 people on the street, but then like each of those people has an entire lifetime of experiences and a whole bunch of stuff going through their head at that particular moment that you can't necessarily see everything. And it's just like oftentimes, if it's not just like a general sort of, like ambient like idle state, like typically you're going to be seeing bits and pieces of things on a person's face, and it's just a matter of trying to understand how people's faces express thoughts physically and how to sort of interpret that, which I know it's advanced, but it's fun to play with if you can find some time to just like combine feelings and smush them together and figure out how those expressions work. Which I guess the first step before that is just taking like sad and then just figuring out different ways you can draw sad and different like types of, what does that mean? What, like, maybe this like you were saying earlier, Pixie, for the main, just having like a bunch of like taking a model like that you've drawn, just like copying it a bunch and then just drawing expressions on it. Like I've done that myself. Like, so maybe then it's like, this character is melancholy, this character is lonely, this character is wistful, this character is just lost in thought. Like that, like just taking like the basic, like, okay, this is a cartoony sad face, and then just like slightly altering it, thinking like, what does it mean if I change this slightly? And then you can start to understand the more advanced expressions.
The more that you draw, the more easily you'll be able to like represent more complex and more intricate expressions in your art. So because both your eyes and your everything will get better. All right, Len.
What I like to do for practicing showing emotions is that I have this character that has basically just eyes with no pupils, no eyebrows, and a mouth.
Yes.
That's basically all. Like, I just kind of
It's such a good exercise in
around.
expression, in making a character expressive. like I love that. I love that idea. So I am a huge fan of what you've drawn here, by the way, with the like oops dropping the
Thanks.
I love like everything about character design and how to use shapes to create feelings is incredibly cool to me. And like I've said this before, but one of my favorite things is like Wheatley in Portal 2. And if you
Oh
go
my
through the
god,
game with
yeah.
the developer commentary, there's like one part when you're going through the back area where if you click on the developer commentary, it like takes control of like Wheatley and he starts like animating to what they're saying in the commentary. They talk about like how they designed this character who is basically a sphere with an eye in it in the center, a circular mechanical metal eye. And it's like,
Yeah.
how do we make that have emotions? And just by like creating this sort of like overlapping like layering effect and like difference of like the different like pieces that can slide over one another, and as well as like body language like shuddering or the pupil shrinking and stuff like that. They've created like so many different ways of expressing emotion for a ball with like a metal ball with a metal eye socket in the middle of it, and they've created emotion, and it's really cool seeing it actually display this like animated set of expressions as it's describing them, and it's such a cool thing to see. So I love that sort of thing of like, how do you take something that is completely not human and make it give off human emotions? That's the character design to me. So it's just something cool to keep in mind.
Well, I guess if unless you have any more questions, I guess that's the evening.
Uh,
I love that face.
Len did post something. Or did I?
Zara's found the clip.
Spike.
Oh yeah, my sketch of Spike. I've
LD,
been
do you
struggling.
exist?
Yeah, I exist. 1 second.
No, good. Just making sure. No stress. No stress.
Um,
Stress is like officially banned.
I don't have space, so
Too many drawings.
You can take up
You can just
this
shove it on
area.
top on a new layer.
Or something.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
we'll all make new layers and just go above wherever you put it.
sure.
100 million layers.
One sec, just resizing.
Oh my god.
Aha.
Let me...
Okay. You got any questions in particular, Len?
I'm not sure it looks consistent with the style of my ponies.
No, it's dragon.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, you know what I mean.
So from what you were saying in the chat, it sounds like you were having trouble interpreting your usual style to the this different species that is maybe challenging your sort of like usual methods of doing things.
I noticed your legs are a heck of a lot thicker than yours.
That's
are
what I
normally.
was thinking
Yours
too.
are like these dangly, long, like who's that artist? The elephants.
Bits?
Melting
Alyssa.
clocks.
Oh, Dolly?
Yeah. Yours are close to Dolly's.
Mm.
This is more like a kangaroo mated with Spike and
Oh gosh.
I mean, I tried to do something different for the legs so that they didn't look pony. Because I felt weird making them smaller because it's a dragon, you know?
Yep, no, I get you.
Mm.
And this is what you're allowed. Artistic freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just chucking some lines on top, I guess.
I do think
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
the design of your legs is counterintuitive to what you might be trying to get, because it doesn't make sense for him to have legs like that if he's just going to be essentially standing, as opposed to using all fours. Like the MLP has done a pretty good job of going, yeah, I mean, they're going to have like dog legs normally, but we can change that. It's just going to have straight legs. And that's what they've done to Spike.
Have you
I
seen
really, I really like how these legs look. To be honest, I don't think I really change much about them. I think the main thing is it might be interesting to sort of have this specific bit like pinch in, I guess. But
Mm.
that's just like style experimentation stuff. Maybe.
See, thinking back to the way you draw your horses, the consistency I see in the style is large bodies, small limbs, but are long, but also small head. So if you maybe even thought about making Spike's body larger, not like, tubby, just like more muscular and a little bit have a larger frame to it. Um, and then go with the skinnier legs because I think skinny legs would work better. Also, going off of what Zamzam said, look at like lizard legs and stuff because this definitely feels more towards a mammal instead of a reptile, and maybe that might help feed into it. Like if you interpret lizard legs into your style, because yeah, these are more like a dog limb, unless you want that. Because of course, artistic liberty if that's what you want. But if you want to, just random thoughts I'm throwing out.
But if you want your art to be good, you know.
It already is good, Pixie.
I'm just teasing. It's all
I
I'm
know.
ready to scrap the legs altogether because I'm not super proud of them. Like compared to the arms being like super long at the beginning and then shorter at the front arms. Like I like that for Spike, but I have no idea how to portray that in legs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I would totally recommend reptiles. Like their legs
Yeah.
are weird. They're like stumpy things, but I think you could find some really fun ways to experiment with that.
I guess it's just about like how you interpret the anatomy, and remember, the sort of tail can come into part of it as well. If you wanted to have like longer legs without necessarily making the character look like they're just like tall and skinny, and you wanted to keep that like sort of bottom heavy aesthetic, then you could sort of like use the tail in that. But I guess it's up to you
Ah,
what you
true.
sort of what you want to go for really. Yeah. Action lines, I think, are maybe good to create like a sort of swooshy like, oh, it's going this way.
Do you think you're going for more of a baby Spike or like full grown like the other horses? Because that could be something to consider.
I don't know, honestly. I don't really like the style is I think the separate from like age difference because the like older horses have a different kind of body shape that I'm working on, and the ones that I have drawn right now are all the like normal ponies but with a longer like limb style and stuff. So I have no idea.
Gotcha. That's totally fine. I'm just 'cause I like in my own head I'm like, okay, if he's baby Spike, the head makes sense because I'm thinking of your ponies. Your ponies have these such elegant muzzles, and his is very short. So maybe like fitting that in as well. Like he could have a longer, more dragon-esque muzzle. That could also help tie it into. Yeah, there's just so many ways. I'm just trying to like spitball. Art has so many directions. There's too many buttons.
I think that I'm gonna keep it short since he's younger, but I might make it longer if he ever like goes into another age cycle thing. I don't really know.
It would also be this is also just like a sort of off-topic suggestion of experimentation, not like a commentary on the actual art, but like you could also sort of experiment with like a sort of much longer, like sort of more feral style with like a super elongated body. Maybe
Ooh.
it's an idea, and like the tail's like ooh.
I like the idea with the long neck too.
Yeah, like super long stretchy neck would be cool. I think.
I really like this pose. Kind of like subdued kind of like shy sort of thing. I added
Tail
like
grab is
just
my
a
favorite.
touch. Yeah, I added just like a touch of like a upturn at that.
I'm actually very happy with this little thumbnail in the corner.
It's so cute. But yeah, the pose ties into like the whole universe thing because he's not supposed to be found out about, and
Mm.
I don't know. It's a stressful topic in the EU.
I see. That sounds interesting. I didn't know there was this whole thing.
I like it.
I really do love that tail grab.
The cool thing is that you do have this sort of like pretty thin, getting thicker, sort of similar thickness, and getting thinner here. Because it like breaks off in a two separate thighs, it's a little bit difficult to sort of see the flows there. But when you break out into this, you see it like a lot more easily because like all of this is all together. I guess. I don't know. I like it. A sort of consistent change from thin to thick to thin again.
I love how long his tail is, though. Like in the original one, it's so stubby and short, but I love the long one in this style.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for like really long tails in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Big and long. I remember seeing. I was just thinking like yesterday. I remember talking to a friend of mine who's super into cosplay, and we found like a cosplay item that was like a tail. You know, so like the base that you could sort of like use like fabric magic over the top of to make it look however you wanted. So it's sort of just like the tail shape of foam, but it was like a super huge, massive tail. It looks super cute and cuddly to curl up in, but difficult to move around.
Also, I'm sorry, I just have to point out, look at those hands. I'm so
Like,
proud of them.
Yeah.
I do think it's a very good
the first thing I
choice
looked at.
trepidation.
Yeah, the first thing I looked at when we opened this up was the hands, and I'm like, ooh, damn.
I
Okay.
keep saying it's my favorite part.
I love
Especially
showing body
this-
language and art.
The foreshortening on the top of this hand is just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's good.
I didn't even do that on purpose.
Masterfully done.
Sometimes things just come together. It's good.
I like it.
Yeah, I examine body languages a lot because I have a lot of like anxiety around people. So each time that I'm talking to someone, I love to just look at them, and if they look slightly uncomfortable, I'll just stop.
It's a good idea. I have sort of studied like I think I might have actually put a thing in the MLPDS like tutorials channel, but there was I was sort of studying in like body like anxious, nervous, and uncomfortable like body language because it's really fun to show and play with the different poses. You got like the sort of like guarding limbs and things. It's really fun to look at. Where is the channel? I've gotten lost. There it is. Yeah, it's a bit of a waste up. When I find it, I'll put it in the voice channel.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to just refine this, I think that as people have said, sort of the main thing is the thighs and the feet.
Yeah, I need to work on the bottom part of this. Like the top part, I was so proud of it, and then I was like, oh yeah, legs.
Okay, I found it. Copy. Put it in the voice channel.
Keeping like doing those sorts of like size and silhouette experiments in like the very sketchy sort of style is really good. I like doing that.
Yeah.
Don't
What I put in the voice chat is a lot of stuff showing like anxiety or sort of insecurity in like facial expression, body language, like hand positions, and all sorts of stuff like that. So lots of really cool reference from like Disney movies and things.
I think I got somewhere. I was just trying this out, but I think that it actually looks okay.
Oh, that's.
I don't know if you can like actually see it. I'll line it in blue.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I like that.
It sort of
It's a
follows
nice
like the flow of the
transition.
body. It's nice.
Especially
I
like
like it.
standing up next to your main horses. I think it looks good.
Yeah, and you get those dramatic curves too to match with them.
Mm.
Ew. Okay. Thank you.
This curve right here, down to here, is so good.
All right, do you got any further questions for us?
I don't think so.
All right, then. I believe we get to call this a day then. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.